Welcome back to another episode of Comedy's Dead. I'm Saundra, I'm your host, and I'm not sitting, I'm standing because I just learned that I most likely have AS. I can't even pronounce the goddamn disease, but it's super rare and it's painful and you basically have to move all the time, nonstop. If I stop for too long, the pain becomes so unbearable, I will cry and then I'm gonna get wrinkles and I'm already getting wrinkles there. So I'm moving, you fucks at home are just gonna have to deal with it. If you get seasick, take with a Dramamine or some shit, okay? Anyways, but I'm not here to talk about the shit show that has become my life. Today, I want to talk about the shit show that is the Ghislaine Maxwell Trial. I don't know if, is she guilty? Who cares? I really don't care. All I know is I read the court transcripts and it made me horny. I mean, how many men are on that jury? Yes, could you please tell us again what happened when you went to Jeffrey's house? Well, first my friend undressed me and then I stuck a dildo up her pussy. Not guilty. I mean, it is so, and I'm not even a sexual person, and I was reading that, and I'm like, maybe I'm gay. Am I a pedophile? Why is this making me horny? Anyways, but no, listen, I'm not saying Ghislaine is innocent. I'm just saying she's not guilty. And you know what? A lot of these victims aren't so innocent either. I mean, just because you're a victim doesn't mean you didn't help conspire with the most decorated pedophile of all time. I mean, guys, he was the GOAT. The greatest of all time. I mean, can we at least talk about that? Can we at least talk? If people care about women, can we please talk about this? The GOAT, the greatest of all fucking time. I mean, most girls cut themselves when they get molested. Not Jeffrey's girls. No, they just kept going back and they brought their friends. I mean, I work at Amazon, okay? I get $1,000 every time I recruit an employee that'll work over 30 days, and I can't get anybody to do it. And I've even offered them to split the grant, and they still won't do it. I mean, Jeffrey has no problem keeping employees whatsoever. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess getting chased around a massage table is a dirty job, but it came with a pension plan. And yes, I know Jeffery Epstein's guilty. I mean, and he should spend the rest of his life in prison for what he did. But if it wasn't for the incompetence of the Southern District of New York, he'd still be alive and Ghislaine wouldn't even be on trial. I mean, why is she the scapegoat? That's all I want to know. I mean, not once in any of those depositions did any of these girls say anything about Ghislaine sticking anything up their twats. Not one. But if you read the depositions going back like even 10 years, they all mention this chick, Nadia Marcinkova. I don't know, some Eastern European bitch. I can't pronounce her name. But anyways, she is in all the depositions and Epstein would make, I mean, they were all paid and she was well over the age of 18 and they all talk about having like sex orgies with Nadia. So why isn't she on trial? I mean, it makes no sense. And Ghislaine, okay, so big deal, what? She taught some 14-year-olds how to take a whore's bath. I mean, most of these girls, and no, I'm not victim shaming, I'm just talking about this so maybe we can prevent this from happening again. Because a lot of these girls were middle school dropouts. I mean, I didn't even know you were allowed to drop out of school in middle school. I mean, why aren't we suing the state of Florida for allowing that? So what? Ghislaine taught him how to take a whore's bath. Armpits, pussy, asshole. I mean, someone had to teach them the order of operations. You always save the ass for last. And if a guy wants to stick it in your ass, charge him extra. I mean, Ghislaine was just trying to help them. I mean, she has done more for poor white kids from trailer parks than anything Hillary Clinton ever did. I mean, yeah, women's rights are human rights. Yeah, unless it's an election year, bitch. Listen, I want to talk about the real crime. The crime that nobody wants to talk about. The fact that these girls were so underpaid. $300 to get molested by Jeffery Epstein? I used to be a stripper and I would get $400 for an hour in the champagne room. And I didn't have to get molested. Unless I wanted to get molested. And if I did, I charged extra because pussy is a capital business expense in this country. I mean, Jeffery Epstein definitely wrote all those girls that he flew out on his plane. He definitely wrote them out as a tax deduction. I'm just saying, these girls were underpaid. Where is the justice in putting Ghislaine in jail for the rest of her life? I mean, the bitch is worth what, like $20 million? Cut these girls some severance pay that they deserve and let's move on. I mean, just give the girls the money that they deserve. I mean, isn't the real justice would be watching Ghislaine Maxwell shopping at a yard sale, you know, like where she recruited girls from? And there's not even any proof. There was not even any proof. And I read the transcripts. And again, and I am a pro-justice person. I'm very a pro-death penalty person. And I read all these cases and I'm always on the side of the defense because the prosecution in this country sucks. And then I was reading the statements or the testimony from victim one. And she started out explaining how she met Jeffrey and Ghislaine at summer camp with her friend and she was licking an ice cream cone. But who talks like that? Why wouldn't you just say eating ice cream with my friend at summer camp? I mean, quit turning the men on the jury on. They're not going to come back with a guilty verdict with a rock hard dick. And again, listen, I'm not victim shaming. I'm just talking about the stuff that happened. Like the fact that victim one's mom was the one that first took her to Jeffrey's house and continued taking her to Jeffrey's house for like 4 years. And then they moved to New York with him and they lived in an apartment and he paid for her to go to private school. I mean, listen, and it was in 94 at the height of the Michael Jackson trial. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm going to need to hear from the mother before I put Ghislaine in jail for the rest of her life. I mean, either the mom was retarded or she's a co-conspirator. I mean, the Michael Jackson trial was going on and you're taking your daughter to some weirdo's house and just dropping her off and then moving to New York with him. And he got her in Miss Teen USA and bought her dress. I mean, ungrateful little brat. I mean, I only wish my mom took me to Jeffrey's house for orgy Sundays. And I don't want to bring this up, but again, I want to point out just how great of a pedophile Jeffrey was. I mean, most of these girls have been paid so much money that not one of them would say they wouldn't go back and do it again under the same circumstances. Like I said, a lot of them were middle school dropouts. So the potential for their revenue in their life that they were going to like accumulate ever being greater than or equal to what its current value is highly unlikely without the Jeffrey variable. I mean, look, Jeffrey Epstein was one of the best things to happen to some of these girls. I mean, it's a paradox, I know, but it's a paradox that comes with a house. I mean, sure, their self-worth depreciated over the years, but their net value tripled. And you can't ignore that. I know it's horrible. It's like a bad algebra equation, all right? I mean, what's a few hundred massages with happy endings and orgies with this chick worth? I don't know. I guess it just depends on, do you identify as a male or a female? I don't know. It was just a shit show, guys. And honestly, I think they won. I think the dirty bastards won. I mean, what do you want people to say? I don't see why we can't talk about all the facts of the case that, you know, some of these parents took their kids to Jeffrey Epstein's house. One of the victims, it was Virginia Guthrie Roberts or whatever, brought her and introduced her, and then her boyfriend would drive her over like 3 times a week, and he was also dating 2 or 3 other girls at the same time, and he drove them too. I mean, why isn't he on trial? It's just, I don't know, but the news isn't going to cover it. So anyways, oh, and I forgot, I'm just super interested in this because I got photoshopped into this shit show. Yeah, that's me in the background. But I kind of met Ghislaine once. Anyways, I used to be a stripper in Vegas, and I ended up on Jeffrey Epstein's boat. But I didn't fuck him. Like, I went to a party at the Real World Suite at the Palms because somebody told me that Pauly Shore was going to be there. He wasn't there. Anyways, I ended up on a boat with Jeffrey Epstein because I was fucking the guy that brought me on the boat. But anyways, if you're interested in that story, you should go listen to my Pedos of the Caribbean, and I explain everything there. But anyways, a talent agent is sitting at his desk, and in walks Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's dressed like Julie Andrews. And behind her are a bunch of thoughts from the trailer park. And she's like, "Excuse me, sir. We're just going to take a moment of your time, but do we have a show for you?" The talent agent stands up, grabs out a dildo out of his desk, and says, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey. Who wants to go first?" And the girls, oh, they get so excited and they start running around and they're ripping each other's clothes off. And then they just start grabbing dildos and sticking it up their friend's pussy. And they're just raping their friends with the dildos. And then they get bored and they grab another dildo and they start sticking it up their other friend's ass. And Ghislaine's running around with this huge black cock of a dildo. And she's like, hey, girls, it's either me or it's Jeffrey. And one of the girls stops and was like, whoa, wait a second. Isn't that cultural appropriation? And Ghislaine just smacks her in the face and says, shut up, bitch. This dick has been in Barack Obama's ass. And the girls, they're woke, so they get so excited. So they get on their knees and they're just sucking this big, huge black cock that has Obama shit on it. And they're just deep throating this, I don't know. Anyways, and Jeffrey's over in the corner on the massage table. And he's just grabbing girls left and right, and he's spinning them around on his dick like a fidget spinner. He's just spinning them and spinning them. They're flying off, and they're hitting the walls, and now there's period blood, and there's hymen blood. It's all smeared on the walls, and the girls are finger painting, and they're writing their name. LOL, little Susie was here. And then Ghislaine walks in, and she's like, Jeffrey, look, it's a fresco of virgin blood. Do you know how much that NFT is going to go for in 10 years, baby? And then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door and Jeffrey gets up and he goes and opens the door, naked of course. And he's like, oh, Beth, I'm so glad you're here. Come in. You have to see this. This is victim one's mom, Beth. I don't know. I just made that name up. But anyways, he's like, come in. You have to see this. Look, little Susie finally got her period. Oh, and the mom's so excited, she just starts licking the wall, and Ghislaine comes over, and they're just rubbing this virgin blood all over them so they can say young forever. And then out of nowhere, little John Benet Ramsey appears, and she's in blackface. And everyone gets nervous because they know Jeffrey doesn't like black girls, but she's just so cute. Jeffrey fucks her anyway, and he's just fucking little John Benet in blackface, and it's just a great time, and everyone's happy, and then one little girl stands up and she's like, wait a second. If my parents asked me what show I'm auditioning for, what was I supposed to tell them? And Ghislaine stands up and she goes, the Aristocrats. Anyways, I'm Saundra. Like, follow, subscribe. I know this was a shitty podcast, but I had a hell of a week. Besides learning that I most likely have AS, my septic tank broke. So I had shit coming up the toilet or the bathtub, and then my iron filter broke. It's a mess. It's just a mess, and I don't want to talk about it. But anyways, the shitter's full, so I have to go, and it's whatever. Anyways, till next time. But like, follow, subscribe, and yeah, that's it. It's really pointless when you think about it. It's all fucking pointless.